are live on another cold morning. Charles, I'm cold.
Very cold. Very cold. I thought this was going to be inside, so I did not really bring a jacket, but
Well, you're wearing a
little sweater.
yes,
Little sweater vest.
yes. Reminds me of the scene from Back to the Future. They go, "Hey kid, what'd you do? Jump ship?"
For all those Hillel people, Mr. Puglisi look.
So, Charles, it's cold yet again. What temperature would you call this right now?
You know how they do the feels like?
Yeah.
It says 38. I would say it feels like a 41, 48, 51. So a little hotter in the sun.
Right,
But
the sun is out.
But when
got a
that sun
cloud.
goes away, when there's a cloud, it gets cold and you start, blowing into your hands,
Right.
especially when you're playing the field.
Now, you were here over Passover, obviously,
I was.
and I'm very sorry for the loss of your grandfather. But
Thank you.
before we discuss your grandfather for a second, what was the temperature like in Deal over Passover?
Trying to remember, I think it was like on and off. I do think it was better than this though. I think it was 60s. I remember a couple of days we had a Hillel tennis game outside right before, and it was, even at night, it was like low 60s. So it was much better than this. It's crazy that it's not getting warmer.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen some sloppy play on the field, and I attribute some of that to the weather, a lot more of it to the roster building. But let's discuss.
Although you could argue, Norman,
Yes.
that the fielding should be better in the cold. When the ground is softer and there's more rain, there should be less crazy hops. And
Yes.
I've seen in the infield ground balls being easier to field this year because of the cold and because of the field being wet and soft.
Let's get back to that. First, I want to discuss Charles Saka, Alava Shalom, your grandfather. And I want to ask a specific type of question because we all know, we've all heard the speeches, building the synagogues and really the Jersey Shore, and it's an amazing lesson for all of us, the impact that one person can have.
Mm-hmm.
And that's clear, and I know your family so personally that I've seen your father and Raymond and Jeffrey and Lori and Sally. I know all of them, and they all have the mentality of if there's a brick wall, it's like it's not even there. We just keep going. What's the problem? Just keep going. We all know that from Jeffrey on the mound. He's relentless. That's all from your grandfather. But I got to ask you specifically about the athletic side, because I do know he loved sports so much. So tell us a little bit.
Sports were a big part of his personal life. He absolutely adored the Mets. I don't know how it happened, or he was originally a New York Giants fan. His father actually worked in Yankee Stadium and sold, the story is, I think, beer or peanuts or something. So his father was a Yankee fan, but he was a New York Giants fan. And when the Giants moved to San Francisco, I think in the mid-60s, he was fanless. He had no clue what to do, and he was absolutely not becoming a Yankee fan. So all of a sudden the Mets came around a couple years later, and he jumped on that bandwagon. I don't know exactly why all of us are Yankee fans. I think my grandfather's father, who was their grandfather, took them to Yankee games, and they stayed on that ship. But basically every time the Yankees would play the Mets, and anytime there was a Met game, he was locked in and dialed into the games. I think he even came to the field here a couple of times.
100%. He did come here a few times, and I mean, he was just a major presence in town. And Charles, I brought a souvenir with me today for you.
Wow!
I just thought of it as I was walking out of my father's house.
Mm-hmm.
I brought what you call here a bowling ball.
Wow,
Charles, this is a bowling ball bag. Look how they made things back in the day. This is my father's bowling ball. Look, I hold that.
Wow.
Hold that. Not sure how many pounds that is. And inside is a score chart. This is from 1980.
wow.
All right? Ronnie Jamal, my father. 12 matches. Joe Heaney, Fonz Missouri. All these names. Storefront, Ashkenazi, Ralph Zaga. This is the league leaders. Red Nesser, Marvin Saka. Now you go to this page and it has the teams. Team number 6, Ronnie Jamal, 156 he bowled. Stevie Fallis, that's Sal Fallis, his father, 152. Charles Saka, 155.
Okay.
Gary Irani, 138.
Nice.
This is dated 6/10/1980. And when I gave my father the news, when I saw the text, that he passed away, he said, my bowling partner passed away. He thought of this, and I found the score chart.
It's funny you see these averages today, and they've doubled this.
Yeah.
228, the bowling league, how it is.
The average for the league in 1980 was 146.
Wow.
Through 12 weeks, 1,324 games. And this is on typewriter. Unbelievable.
We had a team, me, my grandfather, Jeffrey, my dad, Raymond, a couple of years ago. It was hilarious. It was a lot of fun.
I think the high scorer looks to be, this particular week, Abe Franco 165 and Storefront 164. Those are the two high scorers of this particular week. Unbelievable stuff.
Wow. He meant a lot to a lot of people. He cared about the big and the small. He did a lot. He was a builder, as one of the rabbis said, of the Jewish nation, but yet he cared about every relationship. He loved sports. He loved to have a good time. He loved horse racing. And he was just a great man. He loved
the Derby is coming up to next week.
Yeah, we had a family tradition. We used to always...
So Charles, the individual high scorer, the high game for the year, Charles S. Saka, 234.
Wow.
So he did tip over 200 at least 1 week.
Wow.
So
Okay,
figured I'd
great.
show you that, Charles.
Thank
a little memento over
Yes.
there. Okay, let's get back to YMSL, Charles. You're on a 1-5 team, and we're doing this show here at Fireman's East, where you guys, I mean, nothing can go right, it seems. You guys scored 5 runs in the top of the 7th to steal a game from Mo Money. That is highway robbery. You stole the game, and inexplicably you give up 2 runs in the bottom of the frame.
I think it's been the season of bad luck for us. If you look at our games, yes, we haven't been the greatest team out there this year, but we've been in 3 games where in the last inning, whatever happens, happens. So our record, although it's looking at 1-5, could easily be 2-4, 3-3, or even 4-2. Everybody makes excuses.
How many times have we heard that?
Agreed. But it's not like we're getting blown out of games.
No.
We're in games, and just the luck of the draw, and an error here, a walk here, a hit there, and it's just...
Although you do have the league's worst run differential. You have given up 14 more runs than you've scored. That's worse than the league, yet you've been at full strength almost every week, I believe. You were never missing, maybe.
Yeah.
So other teams, let's talk about Mo Money for a second, the team who beat you.
Mm-hmm.
They're -3 run differential, but don't forget, they lost 1,000 to 2 in week 1 because they didn't have their pitcher. So
I mean, the Mo Money team, and we can talk about it later, but the Mo Money team, I think, is a great team. I think they're very well-rounded. I know you guys weren't hot on them in the beginning of the year, but their bats are just so long. Everybody that gets up, it's just another hitter. If you get out this guy, the next guy's up. So they're a long team. I mean, they're a very good team.
It's not we weren't hot on them. It was an F. It was a failing grade if Michael Cohen pitched.
But
by the
AB's
way,
been pitching for how many years? Why would you assume that Michael would have pitched?
Because he was chirping that he wanted to pitch this year. He's pitching in the night league this year, by the way. He made that demand.
Okay.
And the way they drafted their team with JT able to fill in center, it had all the makings of Michael coming out of center and coming to pitch.
Got it.
And if they did that, they would have had a situation like they had in week 1, which was an F. If they didn't do that, A.B. Cohen, who was in Game 5 of the World Series last year, who's as good of a pitcher as others, he's just a little bit older, but he's smarter also. A.B. Cohen, he's 4-0. It's a remarkable story, this Mo Money team.
People cannot... First of all, he's an amazing guy. He was actually very good friends with my grandfather's brother. He still is very good friends, and he was friends with the family for a long time. When he's down... a lot of people say that his fastball is early in the count, and then if he falls behind, he lobs it, which a lot of pitchers do in this league. But even on his lobs, he throws a little spin on it, so he throws that for a strike. So even his bad pitches are not the easiest pitches to hit. So he knows he's a smart pitcher. He knows how to get people out. I think he's fine.
Now Mo Money had to get a lot of personalities to all buy in, but the way they won some of their games had to have helped them. So Mo Haber, phenomenal job captaining again. Starts 0-2, getting shambled in the media. Plays Hubba Bubba in week 2, down 8-5 in the 7th inning, looking down the barrel of 0-3. And nightmare scenario, and they come back. Credit MC. Guys stepping up. MC is stepping up. JT's hitting.
He's getting a lot of hits. He got a lot of hits in our game.
He didn't do this in Arizona, did he?
Arizona, we were the best defensive team, maybe of all time, and we just couldn't buy a hit.
I think swimming fans right now want to attack the computer screen or the phone screen right now because that team had gold gloves all over the place.
So did we, and nobody wishes to recognize that because we were a non-playoff team.
If you can't get in the playoffs, I don't want to recognize you anymore. I mean, come on.
If you go player for player, we match up great against swimming. We beat them, actually. We were one of the only teams to beat them.
Yes.
And we lost to them by 1 run. So.
You did. You beat them in a game that meant nothing. You hit the walk-off?
Yes,
or you hit the walk-off and you were celebrating.
I hit before the walk-off.
Okay. And you guys were celebrating, and I was also celebrating that I never had to see Arizona yet again. I was so happy to unload that nightmare of a team off my docket.
Yeah. One thing about the Mo Money team, like we said, luck and winning, they won a lot of close games. They're the type of team that if they lose those games, could go erratic and could be bad. The good thing for them is that they're winning those close games, so all those kind of personalities are in check.
It's reminding me a little bit of the Knights from last year, I gotta tell you the truth. Maybe not the first pitcher taken, like the Knights, but winning games that just seem impossible to win. Yeah, they should have won game 2. They were up 5-1 entering the 7th. But when you're below that and you still come... And MC got out to lead off the bottom of the 7th. That first out is humongous.
I thought after we got him out, we were going to win.
Me too. You get that first out, you think you're going to win. And that's on Nate B because those were hits. But a ball was also bobbled, of course. But I don't know. Your defense looks pretty bad on film. I understand you're a shortstop now.
Yes, yeah. We kind of tried twinkering around with the field.
Twinkering?
Twinkering. We've been playing a lot with the 4 outfield just because of the wind being crazy, especially in these cold games. I guess you could say we haven't found the right pairing yet.
At 1 in 5, you haven't found the right pairing yet. I will go ahead and say that.
But if you look at our team and our game against Mo Money, mid-first game, all of second game, aside for that last inning, we had the right pairing, and I think we looked good in the field.
So again, folks, mid-first game, all of game 2, except the last inning. So that's what the segment is that we're looking at here at 1 in 5. Are you guys doomed? You're playing the Tigers this week. Are we looking at 1 in 7 and a disaster?
Are the Tigers missing anybody this week?
Tigers are full strength from what I understand.
To be honest, I don't think so. We come to the field to win. You don't come to lose. So, I mean, we're not expecting to lose. We're expecting to win. And you got to put everything out on the line. Nate B has been pitching great.
That was my next question. What is up with Nate B? What's the story?
It's tough to see from my angle playing shortstop or second or whatever I was playing somewhere in the infield. But when you're watching the highlights and I'm like looking from the batter's angle, it's coming in very fast still. So I don't know exactly. It could be that they're just getting good hits. Like we said, our field hasn't been great, so he hasn't been getting lucky with that. And then random things happening here and there, but.
I think it's been a lot of the field. There's fly balls, even with 4 outfielders that are dropping. There's some grounders. What happened to Tutu? Guy can't pick up a grounder all of a sudden. It's crazy. There's just plays that are not being made that should be made. Maybe people yes, the ground is better in the cold, like you said, because when we played deep into the summer,
you get hops.
The hops get dangerous.
Injuries and everything. I've got hit in the face one time.
Yeah.
But people get hit in the face all the time.
But I think people are uncomfortable a little bit. Maybe they're tight. Like, I don't know. I don't know what it is, but your D has not been great.
Yeah, I mean, we probably should have picked an extra infielder as opposed to an extra outfielder, but,
and you definitely should have traded a random outfielder. You have so many of them for any infielder, a backup infielder, not a top guy. But
I think Nate B was trying to make some deals, but the market wasn't hot.
No, the market definitely wasn't hot.
Especially for infielders, because for some reason this year, just looking at the rosters, there weren't a lot of infielders available.
Interesting.
There weren't a lot of infielders, period, and available because everybody wanted an infielder this year.
You guys you lost 5 of 6. Mo Money has won 4 in a row. They're the hottest team in the league. Hubba Bubba has lost
Mhm.
4 games in a row after sweeping you guys.
Mhm.
We thought they were, hot stuff after sweeping AB, but it seems that's not such an accomplishment anymore.
Yeah, I mean, to say honestly, I never liked that team. I think we're a much better team than them. We got unlucky that we lost. They beat us. Agreed. But I just don't think they have enough bats. Their field is great. Their pitcher is great. Eddie Harari, by the way, how much this guy rises, he could be. I think he's up there right now. I think it's instead of 1 and 2, I think it's 1, 2, and 3 now. I think I would put Eddie in the Maxi Deed and Navy category going forward, in my opinion.
But only Maxi Deed of those 3 have a winning record.
I know. So I think this brings another trend of generally the bottom pitchers being more in line with the top pitchers, and that maybe a top pitcher these days, 2022 heading to 2023, is not as valuable as it used to be. It used to be Navy was head, shoulders above everybody else, but as you keep getting better pitchers, as Maxi Dean got better, as you brought in Eddie Harari, A.B. Cohen is even better than what we used to have.
Leo keeps winning the World Series.
Leo, Jeffrey pitching unreal. A.B. So the pitchers are more in line with each other. Maybe it's better to just draft more bats.
Jeffrey this year is pitching like he pitched in Zona,
Yeah.
not like he pitched in Time last year.
For some reason, Jeffrey's like an every other year guy.
He's becoming Howard Johnson.
Like the Boston Red Sox.
Yes, and Hojo in the early
they
90s.
They win the World
like
Series,
that.
and
yeah.
they 5th place.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how. I couldn't tell. I wasn't on his team last year. They said he didn't pitch as well. I'm not sure.
No, he didn't pitch well last year, but this year he's pitching really well.
And Zona, he had a Cy Young year, but Maxie did pitch, was the best pitcher
he was
of all
out of
time
this
that
world.
year. But he would have won Cy Young any other year.
Okay, so Hubba Bubba, you were right about their bats. They are last in the league in hits. They are second to last in the league in runs. And Los Caballos is the other team with them. Neither of those teams' offenses is doing anything, to tell you the truth. But Los Caballos did sweep them. I have to say, I've seen some ugly games.
Worse than ours?
Yeah, the way Hubba Bubba played in week 3 was the worst I've seen. I mean,
that was with Zach.
Let's go around the diamond with Zach. David A. Cohen couldn't field the grounder.
Really?
Beginning and end of story with him. Zach, okay, he got walked every time, so nothing you can do. But when there's a man on third in a relay throw, I still don't know if it was him or Salvalis, but it may have been him. He threw a ball almost over the fence that let a guy score. I don't know.
By the way, that's underratedly a very hard play. I don't usually play shortstop, but when I was playing, you think a guy's coming. Ideally, the field should tell you where the guy on third is.
Right.
Because in our game, the guy didn't even round third, but you're not looking. You got to get the ball out as fast as you can. There was 18 bobbles in the outfield.
Someone's supposed to be talking
Somebody's
to you.
supposed to tell you.
And
So you just launch the ball.
I guarantee you on that team, on that day, no one was talking to him.
Yeah.
Short center, Saul made a beautiful diving stop, but triple clutched around 10 plays. You keep going.
Even their field was bad.
Ike Patesh lifting people up off of third base. Clown. It's a clown move.
So you think even their field's been bad for Hubba?
Yeah, that's the thing. They're not supposed to be good bats. They're supposed to have a great field. And they had a terrible field. Nako, his one job playing first base is to throw grounders to the infield, doesn't bring a ball out to first. Abe Haber, he hit that triple, but he also popped up with bases loaded. He's talking to the girlfriend.
And
Buka. Base hit by Elliot Saka. Base hit, beautiful line drive, base hit to center. Turns it into a home run.
Wow.
Pick up the ground ball. There's no play. There's no play at second. What are you doing?
I don't this team's field, I didn't know that the field was that bad.
Oh, no,
if this team's field is that bad,
atrocious.
I don't think,
they played as bad as you could play. And Bub and Wright also. But balls have been gotten by Bub and Buka in right center. The Michael Cohen triple in week 2 got by them. There's been a few plays. Victor Cheetos hit a home run. That team has underperformed defensively, regardless of offensively.
And how about Eddie? Eddie, when we played against him, he looked great.
Yeah, Eddie's good, but a walk here, a walk there in a bad spot. But, just the team has to pick it up defensively. I'm not looking for them to bat 700. The only guy showing up, in my opinion, is Jacob, and everyone else needs to improve. Everyone else needs to improve on that team. I'm calling 11 guys need to improve, and Jigga's got to keep up what he's doing because he's playing out of this world.
Wow.
That's that team. Los Caballos.
I think Los Caballos definitely has more upside than Hubba.
Okay, you like Los Caballos.
Just a longer lineup. I mean, you have the Farkas, you have the Elliots, you have the Lees. Who else is there? They have one more big guy, I think.
Mark Braha?
Mark Braha.
Mark Braha hit a home run clutch, down 2-0 in the 6th inning. And he hit a 0-out 2-run homer to tie the game in the 6th. And it was a bomb. I saw it from the other field. Our scorekeeper did not get the footage. But you know what? It happens in MLB. Brandon Nimmo hit a home run in the 9th inning. That SNY, Gary Cohen wasn't even calling the play. It was the first pitch after a pitching change, and it was just silence. And like you see the ball in the air, you don't know what was going on. So it even happens to MLB and YMSL. We missed the home run, but it was an ugly game. On Los Caballos, I mean, Farka as a captain has to get his team in line. AB Hollywood Dweck was this close to a suspension.
Really?
Yeah, we're taking a picture on the mound for picture day. A YMSL tradition with Zach's picture when he's a cute 11-year-old or something and playing in the league. We're taking a picture. Get the F off the mound. Get the F off the mound. Unacceptable. And then Farka, after a ridiculously terrible pickoff call at first base, the guy was safe by 10 minutes. And Hubba Bubba got downright screwed on that call to end an inning on a strikeout that they thought was a walk. They throw to first. The guy was clearly safe. And to add fuel to the fire, Farka runs to their huddle and puts it in their face. How that didn't turn into a brawl, I have no idea. So Farka as a captain, to me, is
not doing the job.
Not doing the job yet. Let's see what happens second half. I don't like that team. I don't like that team.
I don't love it, but I think it's worlds better than Hubba Bubba.
Okay.
Again, there's just more bats. They're deeper.
Hubba Bubba swept you.
I'm not saying.
So what are they? You can't say you are better than Hubba Bubba. You had 2 games against them, and you got swept.
I think if we play them today, we kill them.
You don't play them today. You played them week 1, and you got swept.
I agree, Norm.
Okay.
We got swept, but that doesn't mean, look at the NCAA tournament.
Hubba Bubba can't say.
North Carolina against Duke. Duke beats them. All of a sudden, UNC ranked 28 in the country. Duke's ranked 3. They play them in the Final Four. North Carolina was a hotter team.
Hubba Bubba cannot say they're better than Los Caballos. They played them twice. They lost twice. Shut your mouths. You got swept. Goodbye. You cannot say you are better than Hubba Bubba. You're 1-5. You're the only team worse than them. You're the only team that's worse than them, and you played them, and you got swept.
We will see in the final standings how they look.
We'll see in the final standings. When we look down, we'll see both of you guys there, and we'll see you under them.
And then we will compare notes, Norm. How about that?
You got a deal. Okay. Toledo. 2 splits and a sweep. They are running the perfect formula.
I think they're overachieving, but you could go.
I also think they're overachieving, but I tip my cap to overachievers.
Yes, I do agree. Like you said, you got to tip caps to overachievers. I do think they're more middle to bottom, but listen, with a great pitcher, a great defense, and they have a lot of veterans on that team. Leadership is probably no issues in the dugout there. Who knows? But
well, guess what? Isaac is the perfect soldier this year.
Really?
He wanted to be captain. He didn't get it this year. He was disappointed. But you know how he reacted? He said, I'm going to be perfect this year. He's hitting the cover off the ball. Even his outs are hard. And he's being a team leader.
I got to say one thing about Ishak. I think he lives in Brooklyn. He still lives in Brooklyn. I think he wants to come to Deal. Every single week in the winter, 3 times a week, he was going to Deal to hit with Kevin.
Yes.
In the winter.
Yes.
Before Kevin usually starts January, February time, he was going, football season. So you got to tip your cap to that dedication.
They have a good mix. I mean, A.B. Cohen's playing well. They have Edmund, who's just always in the middle of every big rally, comeback. He does the right thing. He's a lefty. He knows when to pull it. He can also go down that line.
He's been hitting well this year?
Yeah, he's hitting well. He just seems to always be there, like when you need him. And he's a good glove at first. And then they have Mo Shama, and they have Henry at third. How valuable is that guy at third base?
Yeah, he's always third base.
I love third base. I do. And when the third baseman's not making plays, you can't win in this league. Everyone has a good shortstop. Not everyone has a great third baseman. He's great.
Yeah. I mean, you could go back and forth. What's more valuable, short center or third? I play both, so. But you're right. Third base is important. I'd probably say short center is a little more important, but having a good third baseman like Hank, even it's those line drives that if you have a good third baseman are outs, and if you don't, they're doubles.
You know what it is?
So if you have a short center that goes under his glove, it's a single. The third base is a double.
I agree with you.
And sometimes a triple.
I agree with you. It's Jacob said it in the preseason whiteboards. I thought it was the smartest thing he said. He goes, short center is what you make out of it.
Mm-hmm.
You could play short center like Jacobatti and be involved everywhere. And I remember drawing the arrows. He's here, he's there. The ball goes to right. He's getting the cutoff. The ball's the dribbler. He's cutting off the second baseman. Or you could play short center and just say, when the ball comes to me, I'm going to do it. So you're right. It's not as important, but it could have a bigger impact.
It could have a huge impact.
But
Meaning,
third, you can't hide from third. That's a hot corner. The ball's coming. You got to make the scoop. Okay. What do you want to do? A little predictions? Oh, what about get back? Abe Saka's team.
it's going to come off that I don't like any team, but I also don't like this team. Again, I don't hate it. They beat us. I think we split with them.
You split with them.
We probably should have swept them.
You should have swept them, yeah.
But we said that about every team so far about us.
Well,
again, I think there's not enough offense. I don't love their D. Just don't love the team overall.
Joe G's having one of the best years of anybody.
He's an amazing player.
He's unbelievable.
But I think post that, I don't love. Again, solid guys, solid team. I think generally a lot. This is just a general thing, and I think it's true in probably every league that there's a draft. People tend to draft the years prior, 3-4 years. They don't look at the minutia and the details of how the guy really played. I think when you're on a guy's team,
you see it.
You really see it. The stat books could lie. People could probably change them. They go to the guy, I got a hit, a single, the ball wasn't a strikeout. So you see the stat books. They're not telling of the whole story until you actually play with the team and play with the guy. You really know what his value is. So a lot of guys in this league, because they were a third rounder a year ago or 2 years ago or 3 years ago, they must be a third rounder this year. And because a guy was an 11th rounder or a 10th rounder or a 9th rounder, it must be he's still a 9th rounder.
It takes a while to make a real difference in the draft.
Way too long. It takes way too long. It should be 1 year, and it's something a guy could go from a 9th round to a 4th round. You don't see that ever in this league for some reason.
Well, you saw with Aharon Cohen, he got replaced for a guy that was too late, and then the next year he shot up, and then this year he shot up even more.
A guy like Jakey Kassin, though, he's hitting the cover off the ball.
Yeah.
And last year he was hitting the cover off the ball also, and he gets picked in the same round.
It's the position. It's catcher. Jacob
I got
finally.
It, but
Jacob's been doing it for 4 years. To your point.
Jacob's a great hitter, and he deserves every bit of it.
Right.
But Jakey should be almost right there.
Okay.
Next round, not 4 rounds later.
I hear you.
And the same thing with a lot of guys in the infield, but you know.
Let's do so wait, get back. So they swept yada 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 week 1. They went up. They went to 2-0. Now they're 4. Now they're 3-3. So they're 1. What are they? They I can't add 2 plus 1. They're 1-3 in their last 4 games, basically. Of course, they're 1 win coming against you guys.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, again, a solid team. Max, I think, usually drafts better, but listen, he's 3-3. He's not 0-6, and he has a shot. But do I think they're a World Series team? No.
Okay. Let's do some predictions. The team we didn't discuss, yada yada yada, at 2-4.
I love this team.
I love this team also.
I think they are a world. Even though they're 2-4, I think they're a World Series.
I can't believe I agree with you because we don't agree.
Ever.
I don't like that I agree with you, but I've been on yada 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 publicly since week 1 when they lost to get back by 1 run. They almost swept the Tigers. If Dano and Saban, I mean, Saban plays a good first base over the years. He used to get a bad rep. He's a good first baseman. Dano's overqualified at second, if you ask me. And they missed a pop-up to start that inning. I mean, disaster.
And Ralph's been pitching solid?
Ralph's been pitching solid.
He always pitches great. He got picked late this year.
Yeah.
Dano got a steal.
Yeah.
I think in some years he was 2nd and 3rd rounders. For some reason, pitchers are all over the place in the draft status, but position players can never change ever. But Ralph he's always pitches great. He's always very consistent. Yeah, he'll miss a game here or there, but he's always there. Like I said, Jakey Kassin and the bottom of that lineup is
Sammy S
hitting the cover off the ball.
Sammy S is a great third baseman. You're a third baseman. Tell me, this guy makes every play. It looks like he makes every play, and the throw is nothing for him.
Yeah,
and he's hitting.
So and they picked him when probably
late.
Maybe
very
last
late.
round or second to last
something
round.
very late.
And he's a starting third baseman.
He plays every inning at third base, and Dano moved himself to second.
Wow.
the team is built very well. Irwin and Jake in the outfield with Al Zolta in right. It's an excellent,
Great
underrated outfield.
I used to think that left field wasn't was like an easy position to play and wasn't so valuable.
Yeah, you're throwing Elliott Saka in there or whoever.
But Irwin in left, guys making diving catches into the fence. The speed, a lot of times in the outfield, you don't know what a good play is because you don't, the camera, we don't have 18 cameras. You don't see the jump that the outfielder gets on the ball. So a routine fly ball for Irwin could be not even a play for another fielder that doesn't have any speed, or it could be a diving play that Irwin just got
Your
to.
prediction, yada, 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 2-4 versus Los Caballos, 3-3. We don't know if Jeffrey Saka will be there or not. What is your prediction there on Memorial 2?
Yes, I think this depends on Jeffrey. I say if Jeffrey doesn't come, Yada sweeps.
Wow.
I think Yada is, like I said, they're a great team. They're a long team. I don't think they have major weaknesses. They have a great pitcher. They have a great lineup. Their field just seems
And if
decent.
Jeffrey is there, full strength.
If Jeffrey is there, I would say split at best. I would say split. I'm going to say split.
What do you mean at best? Who's leaving?
I think Yada still leans. If Jeffrey shows up one game, I'm still going to go. I think like we said, Jeffrey's relentless. He's coming off of an emotional week. I think he brings his emotions, and I do give him a game if he shows up. So I think if Jeffrey misses game 1, Yada wins, and I think if Jeffrey comes game 2, I think he pulls it out somehow.
Charles, I want to leave because I'm in full agreement with you. Without Jeffrey, yada, yada, yada sweeps. With Jeffrey on a normal week, yada, yada, yada sweeps. Mm-hmm. But if Jeffrey could show up for one game this week and they don't play their guts out for him,
they better.
Then they will. They will. They're an emotional team. Farka, we've seen him do everything in this league. Mark Braha, Lee. If they don't respond to him showing up to a softball game tomorrow morning or Sunday morning, then shame on them. But they will respond, and they will win.
And I also think Jeffrey probably comes. I know Jeffrey. I mean, I know the family. I know halachically there's things that go on, but I think assuming all that could be figured out, I think Jeffrey shows up.
Memorial 1, Tigers 5-1, slapping the base 1-5. It's the biggest, widest range of the games that could possibly be. First place against last place. By the way, the standings, if you flip them upside down, they're the same standings. 5-1, 1-5. 2 4-2s, 2 2-4s, and then 2 3-3s in the middle. So this is top and bottom. Are you going to get a game against the Tigers? I know you're not getting 2.
I think we get a game.
Okay.
I think we get a game.
I'll go easy and say you will not get a game against this team.
Do you think there'll be high-scoring games? What do you think the scores will be? Will it be 3-2, or will it be 11-6, or will it be a 10-1? What are you saying?
11-6 and 7-3.
One thing it's fair. I would say something like, I think we win a high-scoring game. I think we win like a 10-8, and then maybe we lose like 9-4 or something. But one thing about the Tigers is you could say their D needs a little work, especially their infield D.
Yes.
That's if they have a weakness. Their weakness, I don't think is pitcher. I think Leo's perfectly fine. I think their outfield's amazing.
There's no perfect team out there.
Their infield, you could get lucky against their infield. Hops, who knows what happened? You hit the ball hard on the ground. Hank Dweck, who has had a slow start last week against Mo Money, was ripping the cover off the ball. This guy is starting to hit. He's a great defensive first baseman, like I said in week 1, and I think he's going to show up. Ali and Nanu have been hitting balls to the fence, to the parking lots, and for whatever reason, the outfield is just standing right there, so it doesn't even look like it's a play, but they're hitting the ball 400.
What do you mean for whatever reason? Because we know they can hit the ball like that. It doesn't work in this league. You gotta hit the ball hard and low. Line drives.
But they're killing the ball. If one of those falls, who knows?
They're not gonna fall because when Nanu Zolta comes up, you play in the boondocks. That's what you do. If he wants to get the hit, he's got to hit a line drive over the third baseman's head and get a double. That's all.
Yeah.
Mo Money, 4-2, 4 in a row against Get Back 3-3. Fireman's West game of the week with Elliot El Dongo Anthony.
Okay, Dongo. I hope we don't agree on every game. I think this is a pretty clear Mo Money sweep. I just think they're a better team. I think they're deeper, better everything. listen, Get Back, I don't mean to bash them. They're great guys, great team, great group. But I just think Mo Money's just a better team, better lineup, better everything.
Very hard. I'm not going to agree with you because I don't want to. Also, I think Abe Saka has been shelled in the hand, hit in the gut.
Mhm.
I mean, he's been getting hammered, but he did have 3 weeks off
Yeah.
this week. I think it probably benefits him
Yeah.
and the Tigers, who were ravaged with injuries, more than any other player in the league.
Yeah.
I think he definitely, he always was a warm
He's a
weather
gamer.
pitcher.
He's also a gamer.
He's a gamer. They're 3-3. People are questioning him. I think he steps up. I think they get a split here because Mo Money is just magical so far this year.
Yeah.
They have the magic. You see it with teams every year.
And they have the bats. I mean, they have the stats. It's not that it's an emotional that they're getting lucky. They have the players
Yeah.
to be a winning and contending team. And again, I love Get Back. I love those guys, but I just think Joe Greenberg is the best player on the field, but Mo Money is just deeper. I just think
Key
they're
components of Mo Money are after the big boys bat, after the MCs and the JTs and the Jordies.
If you get those guys out,
You
which
still
you
have
probably won't,
Mocas, and you
Mocas,
still have
Faber, Ruby Shalou, and then
Good
they
team.
have another 3-4 guys that are good also. Irving Shabbat,
Birdman.
Birdman, got 8 hits against us.
Okay, I know you're going Toledo to sweep Hubba Bubba, because you were really down on Hubba.
No, I don't. I said I think Toledo is an overachiever,
Yeah.
so I think I would go split there.
I'm going split also. Hubba's not as bad as
Yeah.
you're saying. They're a good defensive team if they play
Yeah.
well.
I just think if I had to lean sweep, I'd say Toledo, but I think it's more likely split because I just think the offenses are both, whatever.
They both have
average.
great pitchers.
They both have great pitchers, great defenses.
They don't have great offenses. They
Yeah.
both have great defenses. The Toledo defense will always be more consistent because they're older,
Mhm.
they're more experienced, and they're more professional.
Mhm.
The Hubba defense could make the splashier play, but they got to show up.
Yeah.
This league, you don't show up, you're going to get swept, and
Mhm.
they did. But I'm going to split over there.
Yeah, I like the team camaraderie on the Toledo team a little bit better.
Yeah, by the way, that game is Japan versus USA. You have Ishak
Wow.
for the
Okay.
Toledo Mud Hens, and you have Japan jiggle
Wow.
with the flag. So
Wow.
it's a return to 1945 and all,
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes.
So let's assume our predictions come true. You'd have Tigers all alone first.
I have them sweeping you, so I'd have them all
either
loaded
7-1 or 6-2,
Right.
and then we'd have
Toledo.
Mo Money
And Mo
second
Money
place at
at
6-2,
5
5-3,
Right.
and then you'd have Yada at 4-4, and then pretty much 3-5, 1-7, and,
Right.
and 2-6. So I think that is correct. That the top 4, if you will, are probably Tigers, Mo Money, Yada.
Let's disagree about something. You like 6-team format or 5-team format?
Norman, I think you do it.
Forget this year,
You
but
do
what
an
do you like?
amazing job as a commissioner.
Thank you.
But
But
this is not a good idea to do 5 teams. 6 teams like we're doing this year is the way to go. A team, like we said, Get Back, Get Back, Hubba. Give us a shot.
You have
we
a
have a
shot.
shot this year now. Against last year, 1-5. If we get a game somehow, we're right in it at 2-6 in the 16 format. If we go 2-6 in the 5 teams, you're packing home early. I'm getting my tennis racket.
weren't you
ready.
on Cherokee's Tribe last year?
I have been very unlucky in the last 3 years.
Maybe you should take a little bit more accountability. You were on Cherokee's Tribe. You were
Yeah.
You were in it. The last week
no,
of the
we
season,
were
the
not. We were
5-team
out.
format.
We were eliminated.
No, you had mathematical ability to get in, and you shouldn't have.
Yeah. No, I think that was in the 5-team format.
Yeah, with the
maybe we
5
had to
team,
sweep, and the whole world gets
Yeah,
swept.
but you were a horrible team.
I know.
Charles, thank you so much to Charles Saka.
Thank you for having me on the show.
Good instinct.
We love everybody. My grandfather loved everybody. He loved the league. I love the league. Love you all. And Norman's doing a great job.
And we all loved him, and we are here in Deal. I grew up in Deal, and part of that reason is because this man built up the city with other leaders, but he is a major, major one, and how much they overuse the words like pillar of the community at every single wedding you go to. You can't overuse those things when you describe anybody and everybody, because then when something like this does happen and a man passes away that was a pillar, it sort of reduces it. But there is no Deal community without him.
Appreciate
And
it.
the Saka
Thank
family, and that's the story.
Thank you.
Charles,
good
thank
luck
you
to
for joining
all.
us.
Hope I didn't offend anybody. I didn't mean to. Just
You
trying to
bashed
speak,
every team in the league except yours, who's 1-5. Charles,
just trying to speak my mind. I don't get a chance all the time. But thank you. Take that part out.